Go, man.
Let's do it.
My fantasy team's a mess, falling down the line. Stevenson ain't scoring, Williams can't shine. Kansas City defense, giving up the yards. Losing to a kid, man, the season's hard. Every Sunday morning I check the list, hoping for a miracle that I must have missed. Vibes hit me harder than a freight train rolls. Dreams of victory slipping through the holes. I can't seem to win, feeling like a loser where I thought I'd begin. Mornings with regret and not staring at the screen, lost in the struggle, oh, my fantasy dream. Week after week, my hopes take a dive, watching players like ghosts trying to come alive. Late nights trading, searching for a star, but my roster's just a mess, feels like I've gone too far. Little kid laughing, he's on top again, wondering what it takes just to get a win. Stevenson and Williams can't believe the score. Kansas City defense giving up much more.
And
fantastic,
welcome to the Fantasy Trail.
It could have been the new Florida Georgia Line song for all I would have known.
Man, and that's all I have. That's my only fantasy contribution that I have to offer, because my season's just gone off the rails.
Matt, I think you're in an interesting position, Matt. I do not believe you're off the rail thing. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. And it's one of these things, Matt, where I've taken a look at it, and I will say yes, because he's in, this is going to be fantastic. Matt, where I will say that we're going to break it down, and I think that it's doable for you. That's all I'll say. I didn't say it's probable. I said it's doable. And Jay will get to that later on.
I shall indeed.
All right. Who are we starting with here? What do we think, guys?
All right. First things first. It was a pretty big bye week. We had a lot of big teams and a great deal of big names. And this is one of those really weird
Bills Bengals.
Yeah,
Bills Bengals.
Really weird back-to-back end of the season things where we had absolutely you got balloons, buddy.
I have no idea.
Where we had absolutely nobody this week after a ton last week, and then Tamala, you were just saying there's a few more next week. What a weird choice by the NFL.
Yeah, they're deciding to not have any buys over the Thanksgiving. I'm not sure I get it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not sure I get it. I'm not sure.
I don't have all the information, but it just certainly seems weird from a fantasy perspective when they know most leagues will do 2 of these 3 weeks as the final 3 weeks of the year, and then all of a sudden you're running into these massive teams going down. It also seems like potentially an advantage for some of these NFL teams to get a bye if you're needing it in week 14 as you approach the playoffs.
Oh, I definitely want one later rather than earlier.
Yeah, the Bills one seemed great. That was a good one. But anyhow, Tamala, do you want to take a bye for your team, buddy?
Yeah, let's start with the Michael Thomas going up against Colin. I thought this was
that one. Okay.
What?
All right.
I asked if you just wanted to take a bye week, man.
This was an interesting week. I mean, Michael, one of the lowest scores all year.
I mean, kind of epitomizes his season here.
But Colin, who's had a good year,
it wasn't great. Wasn't a hot week for him.
Wouldn't have beaten most teams.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, when I was going through my playoff stuff last week, I said one of the reasons I felt like he was going to lock in was because of easy schedule. And this is where an easy schedule really pays off. He would have beat Michael and Michael.
That's it.
It's a good thing he played who he did. And this is why it matters to have an
just for clarification, he's in right now via record.
Comfortably in via record and via points. I think he's in no matter what. It's not going to be a problem. He was dealing with some big-time buys. Kamara, big deal. Devonta Smith hurt. Kincaid hurt. He sat Jaden, which ended up being a mistake, though I understand why he did it.
I got you.
But, it's not his best team. It is probably pretty close to Michael's best team if you take away Amari Cooper. But Michael's best team is obviously not his full strength team with all the injuries he's had.
Yeah.
No. Yep.
Tough year.
I'm with you. I feel bad for him.
I mean,
feel
it's just a
bad.
brutal year when the big guys that you get back, it was little as these guys did. You know, McCaffrey just didn't look like himself. Blowout. Mike Evans wasn't really back to himself. Again, blowout, but in the reverse direction. Jawan Jennings couldn't do much when they're getting blown out. And then, you know, Christian Watson, my goodness. Watching that game, you see him drop that 50-yarder?
Yep. Saw it.
Man, he's good at that.
I feel bad for him, but you know he's resigned to himself that he's buying the pizza, and because he's accepted it, he's not in sour, you know, complete torture sorrow like you are, Matt.
Unnecessary.
One thing to be thankful for.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Jake making a strong move, beating Brian 130-1 to 114. That's with 10 points from a quarterback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And less than 10 from your number one running back.
I would argue that while this was a great, I guess, to win, like that doesn't matter. And if you're looking at who he was competing against points-wise, it was Rachel and it was Scarano. So I would say this was actually a bad week for Jake.
I mean, he didn't slip back. I mean, he's still within position, though. He didn't slip back down. He slipped a bit. I don't get me wrong.
He was in fifth. He's not in fifth anymore. He lost 13 to Rachel. He lost 27 to you. I understand that that's not it. You know, he's going against Tamala. He picked up 23 on Tamala. But that really is what his only path into the playoffs is, as we'll see shortly. So
the win means nothing for him. It's
I don't
bad
think it
week
means
for Brian.
anything.
Bad week for Brian.
Bad week for Brian. Yeah, I'd say it's a status quo-ish week for Jake, though not fantastic, but a really not a good week for Brian.
I mean, because Brian's on the outside looking in anyway. We'll see it when we get to the playoff.
Brian had been trending.
And you know what really hurts Brian is one of the biggest disappointments he has on the team is his tight end.
It's a lot of them.
I mean, but like 6 of them were on a bye, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he literally only played the only one that he could have, I think.
Nothing from Likely. Yep.
He actually made the right coaching move.
And don't get me wrong, Likely's inconsistent, just like the Browns are.
Yeah, Brian's in trouble because he's already trending in the wrong direction, and I just heard Breece Hall is in some danger of not playing.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Tweaked knee injury.
Okay. And their team's going nowhere, so I couldn't see pushing it on them anyway.
Would seem like a bad idea.
All right. Scarano.
Let's check it out, man.
You beat Casey 158 to 127, 128.
Respectable score from Casey.
And it was interesting because until Barkley had that game, this was not in the bag at all. This was, I thought this, and I know ESPN had it like, I don't know, maybe like 65-35 or something like that. I was saying this was a coin flip. And I was, I was getting cute with Abdullah and stuff like that. Like, oh man, he's gonna get me. He's gonna get me. And like after that happened with Barkley, I was able to go to bed even at halftime knowing.
Okay.
You know, Barkley was huge and unbelievably helpful, obviously, to you. But I would argue that the substitution of Addison in instead of Pearsall was just as vital. Like, Addison has been good, but you wouldn't have said he's an every week play just yet.
Every once in a while, you get a home run from him, and it's
but
it's lucky. I played him the 2 home runs.
His projection.
Yep. I likely played the 2 home runs. The Abdullah thing happened. That's one of the things that, like, when you nerd out on fantasy football YouTube channels, like, you could find something. They're like, he's going to get the number 1. He's already playing third down back. In a PPR league, he's going to get some catches, and I did it. Casey's team was very respectable this time. And Dobbins going out, it sucks for him. That's all. But not that he's really in it or anything like that. Sucks for me.
None of that matters.
We're on me in the playoff picture. That's all.
He was fine. He didn't even coach all that poorly. It's just that that sums up his year. It's probably his best score of the year.
Very possible. Very possible. Looks like he's well into the pizza area.
All right. Parker and Joel defeated me 130 to 108.
Thoughts, Tamala?
Thoughts?
My team sucks. My team's inconsistent.
Mm.
Your team doesn't suck. It is inconsistent. I will give you that.
I mean, 3 points from Stevenson going up against Miami. I would have expected more. Williams, after I benched him last week, and he put up a 20.
Yeah,
good. Goes
you
for
put him back.
4. I mean, Dobbs is out for the week and put up 8. Kansas City against Carolina, they put up 2 points.
You got 7 if you count the win.
Yeah, still, it doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
mean,
you'd like to think that they get some turnovers, man. I agree with you, Matt.
Listen, both of you were struggling with buys this week. You had 3 starters out with buys. They had 2 starters out with buys. So, like, it's not an accurate look at your squad. Those are some big name players for you.
Yep.
Atlanta has been absolutely huge. Devonta's been a letdown, of course, but you take out, Dobbs and I don't know, maybe even Ramondre at this rate, and you go, hey,
Robinson and London right in there, man, and you're right there.
yeah.
But on the plus side, you lost to a kid, so that's good.
Yeah, he let down by Jefferson.
Big time. But not much else.
Yeah, I mean, everything else was pretty good, pretty solid for them.
Everything else was pretty good except for the Commanders' defense, which honestly I thought was a good play, and then turned out to be a disaster.
Yeah, although they were up big there for a little bit.
It's hard to say, man. I mean, you'd like to think that Cooper Rush would probably give the ball up at
Houston had going nuts against them the week before,
yeah.
so
like you'd think,
Yeah.
but you never know.
Very helpful for them in their quest for the bye. Not so helpful for you in any sense. You are still alive, as you will see, though, Tamala, in both avenues. You're not dead.
Yeah. All right. And JT, last matchup of the week, you defeat Rachel 164 to 144. High score of the week yet again.
So the one that I was saying to Scrano is that I'm just enjoying every bit of an actual fantasy year with success. But one of the coolest things has been between the household. I think we've hit the high score 7 or 8 out of the 12 weeks.
That's crazy.
So that's been when you're looking at it as a dual investment, $150 or whatever, we're already looking at $70, $80 that have already come back. We're more than halfway returning our investment without having even made the playoffs is a great way to start.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I was playing
across the board except for Goff. But
yeah, Goff. It's funny, I thought it'd be a great matchup, and they didn't. But what can I say? Everything else went so wonderfully. I can't complain. It's just one of those things that Rachel went up early, and I really thought she was actually.
I thought she was going to win.
She was starting to pull away. And then all of a sudden in the second half, things started to really twist. And she was talking to me about it. And we were, doing the math for a while there. And then all of a sudden it became a pretty substantial, margin. And she had 2 guys left, Puka and Henry. And I got to admit, I wasn't sleeping super easy knowing each of those guys could put it up. I think they would have needed a total 55. And she got, 45 out of them or whatever it was. But it was
I would definitely say this.
She's got to come away happy with in the end. That's great.
And we're going to look at it in a little bit here. And with points, again, she just pulled a little bit more forward. And it is tough having the guys play late, Matt. I'm kind of with you on it. I know we've made fun of you for years, but with the Barkley thing and stuff like that, I will say that I get why you like the Sunday at 1:00 and have it.
Oh, me too.
I get it.
I mean, looking at Rachel's team, I mean, the big disappointment all year is Laporta.
Sure.
What happened with him? I mean,
that's such a good question, man. I don't have an answer.
Well, is it just your whole sophomore slump thing? That now teams know you, they have an eye on you, there's a game plan towards you. where before
Okay,
they
but-
just did it.
But they have other players they have a
They
game
have
plan
so
for.
many weapons that all the are still scoring and doing well that everybody's shutting down just Laporta, but they're choosing to let everybody else score.
You know what I would say, and maybe this is really part of it, is that Goff does seem to be spreading it out. But it seemed like it was Laporta or Amon-Ra. And he does seem to be spreading it out more. They seem to be having a little bit more like screen passes. Their offense looks a little bit different this year.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic. But it almost looks like the ball is being spread out more. And that it used to be like you had those two looks. And maybe it's not. I don't know. That's my only thing I can say.
All right. Well, I guess there's no avoiding it. Let's go talk about playoffs.
This is
All right.
Playoffs.
Just
We're
as a
talking
quick aside,
playoffs.
Tamal, I was feeling great though because Rachel had a couple cousins who may have played in Bill's defense who definitely would have, but I had no Burrow, Chase, or Cook.
It's a big week.
That's a big week for
Big week.
three of my probably top 4 scorers right there.
Big week.
Big
We
week.
should go back to week 1 after week 1 and listen to you lament Chase and Burrow.
I mean, his eggs are in one basket, and
Michael Thomas beat me in week 1.
That's interesting.
I had like 103 points
With McCaffrey out, just to clarify.
with McCaffrey out. He beat me, and I absolutely have gone in a completely different direction since then.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I think he's lost 9 in a row. Casey's lost 7 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You've won 3 in a row, and the rest are less.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Tamala, do you want me to share
Yeah.
for playoffs here? Okay.
Sure.
I got a couple things we're going to look at just because as we get closer to the end of the season here, I think there's a little bit more to begin to analyze. So we can do the real quick general thing first, which is just looking at the playoffs. But within the playoffs, I did a little theme here with our holiday coming up and had a section for what the team is thankful for, as well as something that if a dish was being moved around the table, you might pass on. So as always, I like to start at the bottom if that's all right with you guys.
All right, let's do it, man.
You're reading. I can see you're both reading. This is everybody finds their own name. Let me see what he wrote.
Yes,
about.
I did. Yep.
Yeah, okay. You're just
What
like
do you
a
expect?
celebrity looking in the index of a biography. Congratulations.
Everyone's a narcissist, Jay. Sorry to say.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, here we go, boys. Starting at the bottom, Casey. You know what? I actually mixed those up. Let me make a quick switch here.
Oh.
Does that
Ooh.
match the? But does that match?
It does. It does.
Okay.
It does. I just forgot to move the teams. So then I gotta have to. Oh boy.
Yep. Oh no.
Oh
That's what
no.
You could have just left it.
No, I can't. You can't do that. You can't just leave it. So we're gonna fix it. I got it. We're here. We're there.
good, Jack.
And look, we're good. Okay. there
All
we
right.
go. All right. With our little bootleg work there. Michael Thomas, I am sorry to say, has dropped all the way down to the basement. He has surpassed the crappiness of Casey, which, to be fair, is an accomplishment in its own right. But he is now 10th, both in ESPN and via us. He is 216 points out. And the only thing he is thankful for is that next season is getting closer every single week. That is just brutal there. So I hate to see it. I absolutely wish that he didn't have to have that because he is somebody that cares and plays so well. But I mean, his injuries were catastrophic. I can't remember them all because he's dropped them. Do you guys remember some of the ones he's had?
I don't remember them all. He drops them very, very quickly, like as they happen. Let me clarify. They're not hanging around like Casey's just sitting on his bench for some reason.
Right. And speaking of which, I think if you look at Casey's one, I made reference to that because Casey is 208 points out. And unfortunately for him, that's not even close either. So even though Michael's having an unbelievably bad week, or excuse me, year, Casey is right there behind him. I said the thing he's thankful for is that he's only got a few more weeks left to not make IR moves. He has 2 current guys that are out for the season who are both on his bench. And then God knows what he does with Pacheco. And if he's coming back in time, I guess he's got till Friday for that. So it's not that he isn't trying at all, but his effort is certainly the most
minimal. And to clarify,
anybody who plays.
But I think his effort's been better this year.
Casey?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Dude, if you have 2 guys that have been on your bench for at least 3 weeks that are out for the year,
But he's had guys on IR who he's actually taken off, which hasn't happened in the past.
I mean, I guess congratulations. Like that, I'm still not going to say it's a good effort.
Low bar, but
buddy, the bar is underground. That is ugh. Anywho,
yeah, it's pretty bad. This is pretty bad. And he's going to have to make a move. Just to clarify this with the ESPN rules, he's going to have to drop someone or do something, or he won't be able to adjust Dobbins out of his running back position. You can leave it, but he can't move Dobbins then.
Yeah.
Theoretically, he can switch the 2 of them.
He's going to be forced. Nah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I guess he could switch the 2 of them. Matt's right. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But then wait, that mean that there's an extra? No, I mean, as long as Dobbins has the O. Okay.
Either way, yuck. Things he would pass on, Tyreek. I mean, Tyreek has to be one of the bigger letdowns in all of fantasy for a guy that's actually played. And he'll pass on that bad coaching. It's just not making the effort to improve a team. We all get hit with injuries. Sometimes we get hit brutally. There's nothing you can do. Sometimes you can't control it. Michael Thomas was in that situation as well, and he just kind of got stuck. But oof, Casey, yeah. On to the actual competitors. Brian is an 8th in our ESPN as well as our league. He is, unfortunately, if you look at last week, he was 29 out. He has dropped to 68 out.
Yeah, so, that's a pull away there.
That was not what he needed. Things he's thankful for. Apparently, he's incredibly thankful for the general position that exists of tight end. And he also really loves the tush push. And I'm referring to Jalen Hurts, of course. With that in mind, he definitely has to be passing on the idea of how bad Etienne has been. One of the biggest busts again at the running back position. And then poor Olave, who has had 2 of the more brutal concussions I've remembered seeing in back-to-back, or maybe it was 2 out of 3 weeks, but really ugly stuff. So 2 big names who did not help him out. Tamal, you ready for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear the excitement. The only guy who actually drops based on ESPN standings, he would be 5th if we had not altered the league. But as Matt has always said, this is the way to go. And as you can see why, it propels him all the way back to 7th place. He is currently, I'm rounding here, 36 points out. And I would say you're incredibly thankful for Lamar. I don't think you're thankful for his bye week, but I know you're thankful for how
everyone has a bye week.
Great he's been. And he's been great. He's been better than I would have guessed you would have thought. And that's really great considering Anthony Richardson has been a roller coaster for sure. The things you're not so thankful for. I think your country song kind of summed up a little bit of this, but you've had some brutal draft busts, man. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, is one of the first years I can remember where you had that happen and weren't able to trade your way out of it. Usually with chicanery, by the way. And these 4 names were pretty big. Devonta, Deontay, Javonte, and Xavier all have really let you down much more so than they were projected.
I will say Worthy's not a letdown just because
Worthy might be the one that I might take out of there, Jay.
43rd ranked receiver.
Yeah.
When was he drafted, though?
He was drafted higher than the 43rd ranked receiver.
We'll be looking that up.
But
okay.
Yeah.
I think he's a letdown when Rashee Rice goes out.
Okay. Yes. I would say that that's true.
And I mean, I was projecting him. I was hoping that he would have a Rashee Rice type second half, and he hasn't. But
99th overall.
All right. And how many of those 99 do you think were quarterback, running back? Casey probably drafted 2 defenses by then.
Okay. All right.
But Tamala, as we will see, you are not dead. However, going back, this has been an interesting fall here, buddy. If you look, you were third, and in with wins, and then suddenly you dropped to. Oh boy!
But you did. You pinpointed it right there. Go back a week. Go back.
Yeah.
Points could become an issue though.
Okay. I mean, I was worried about it for sure.
Yeah.
And then it did become an issue, but you were like, a whisker's edge away. And then suddenly, with a bad week, you are now 36 out. So
two bad weeks.
Yeah. Two bad weeks. The guy who leapfrogged you, literally from 7th to 6th to take your spot, is Jake. And Jake now is 36 points ahead of you. I would say he's incredibly thankful for what Joe Mixon has become. And he's probably very thankful for our points equals playoff rule, because Jake is 5-7. And he would not be in if it wasn't for that rule. You would obviously have that spot. Things that Jake cannot seem to just accept is which wide receiver should play. He is incredibly consistent at being incorrect with which. He's got too many good ones. And
it's hard. He doesn't. They're not like dumb decisions or anything.
It's
like
never
just picks wrong.
Dumb. No, it's
never
never
a dumb decision.
But he is consistently making the wrong call.
Yeah, he picks wrong.
Yeah. You get it, Mike. You're familiar.
Yeah, I got you. I've been overcoaching, switching things back and forth, last minute putting one guy in.
I don't even
think
it's
anytime you play
me.
Anytime you play me.
Yeah, it's tough, but up to this point, he's made it work. So he is hanging in there. And he is, interestingly enough, only 30 hundredths of a point behind our 5th place team, which is Rachel. She goes from 6th to 5th, and she is now in a better spot. Again, if you go back last week and look, she was 0.2 ahead, and Jake was 13. Both of them got to make a nice little jump up to 36 and approximately 36. So both of them put themselves in a better spot. No guarantee, of course. She's thankful for her 2 dominating top players, Derrick Henry and Amon-Ra, both of whom have scored a touchdown almost every single week.
Yep.
And that just is such a great starting point. They've just been dominating. In terms of what she's passing on, if you look back at it, she started out okay and then had a real swoon. And I think her season's up and downs kind of coincide with Puka. Having that third big-time scorer is really huge. And then just on a personal level, I think she'd pass on the idea of having to ever root for Mahomes again.
And Mahomes, in general, Jay, just where he was taken and where he's ranked right now, I think that we have to just not even just rooting for Mahomes, but Mahomes is an outpass in general.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay.
Bringing it into the happier side of the fantasy trail tomorrow. Scarano, you are in 4th, and my man, you are really feeling better because not only
have something different to be thankful for.
Of course you do. But I will say that you and I were talking a few weeks ago about like, watch out. If you lose here, your points, you gained big time points and you got the wins. You're getting on a roll. You're in via our 4th place spot. And I think you're thankful for the Giants being such idiots. And
I agree.
A little better team.
Saquon's huge. I also have to be thankful for the points against.
Interesting.
I have the lowest points against. in the league, and it puts me in wins, and it keeps me open in 2 avenues to make the playoffs.
Right. Agreed. Okay. Love it. Hadn't thought of it. Will accept. Things that you'll pass on. I think you'll pass on Debo.
Yeah, for sure. Just hasn't panned out, and I don't know why Purdy just doesn't seem to look in his direction. He's been utilized less as a running back, where you thought maybe with McCaffrey out. Yeah, there's been injuries.
I mean, the whole team's been off though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if it's Super Bowl hangover or what, but
every time the team loses the Super Bowl.
I mean, but Debo, this is kind of Debo. That's kind of just what he does. Like, he's just hurt a lot, in and out of the lineup.
And I have trouble putting him on my bench.
I understand. But I bet that's a player you don't draft anymore.
I agree.
Moving up to number 3 is Colin. Colin is doing great with wins as well. He's just had great depth all year. He's been able to overcome a lot of things that the rest of us maybe would have been in more trouble with based on the studs being studs and the depth being able to plug in when they're not. The only one I'd say he'd pass on a little bit is Harrison. For the hype, and Mike, I know how much you love hype.
Oh, the draft alone. I mean,
For the hype for Marvin Harrison, I mean, being a top 10 receiver, top 10 pick in some cases, top 5 pick in some cases, he's basically just become a touchdown dependent bust. Like, he's got maybe 4 or 5 good weeks, but the rest are pretty awful.
He was drafted in the 2nd round, just to clarify.
He is not a target monster at all, and everybody just really thought he would be.
And it actually seems like the Cardinals' offense is going a little bit here.
Listen, they're not bad. McBride's been great. I love it. Wow.
So,
okay. And then our last little bit here, the 2 top spots currently for the buys are Joel and Parker in 2nd with wins. They're thankful for the 2-headed tight end monster in a position that has not been great around the league. Kittle and Kelsey have both been pretty solid, especially Kittle. And I think that really helps. It's just a guaranteed good performance in a spot where you've seen, Brian's got 4.
Other ones don't have them. Yep.
Yeah, Brian's got 4 tight ends, and he only got 3 points out of all 4. Like, it is a spot that can really make or break. And when you can get 15 to 20 out of that spot, and your opponent might get 5.
And they seem to be sliding into flex spots as well.
Scarano, you're the only one in the top 4, I'd say, that doesn't have a really consistent, excellent tight end.
I don't, but I actually think between the 2, I'm halfway decent.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Maybe there's a theory here that I haven't fully fleshed out, that the ability to have a good tight end or 2 might be what gets you into
Gives you those extra
advantageous
couple
spot.
points.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one spot where you can have a clear advantage over other teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Because, I mean, you look at it, it goes, I got McBride, and now Hawkinson looks good. Joel and Parker got Kelsey and Kittle. Colin had Bowers. Those might be the only 5 good tight ends out there. Yeah. But in terms of things Joel and Parker are not thankful for, Jefferson has had a really rough last couple weeks.
He's been down. Addison's been getting a lot of the looks.
Yeah, but now they have Danny Dimes. I mean, things are looking up.
That ought to fix it.
I never used to hear that nickname as much till this week for some reason. I'd heard it, but it seems to have gained quite a bit of popularity.
He's in the zeitgeist. Me, I am up next. The thing I am most thankful for being in a bye is the thing that I lamented in week 1, Tamala, and that is that Jamar Chase is not Christian McCaffrey. That is the single greatest move I've ever made in fantasy, even though I didn't have any idea what it was going to become to this extent.
No, I just think this is going to be. I think, Jay, it's going to be a moment in our league, and where we always would just want that number 1 pick, and I think from now on, man, I think it's a no. I really do. But go ahead. I mean, you look at Jefferson last year. You look at McCaffrey this year. I mean, it really has been a bad spot.
So, but I mean, the number 1 pick, I mean, you can pick anyone. You don't have to pick the consensus
one.
But
I think the year before was Jonathan Taylor.
But is it having the back-to-back pick rather than waiting 20 picks between your picks?
That's what I mean. Well, that's kind of.
But who had the 10th one this year? Well, it wasn't me.
Well, what were you, 8th, 9th?
I think it was 8. Yeah.
Jay and I were right around there.
Close enough. I mean, close enough. Like, I mean,
just to be able to get 2 out of the top 13.
So if say you kept it and you're not picking C-Mac, who would have been your choice?
I was gonna go Hall.
Huh?
Which would have
gone poorly, and you would have had to wait all the way till 20. No, dude, your season would have been sunk, man.
Yep. In terms of what I'm passing on, I do have a couple running backs that are turning back into pumpkins. I saw Mason go a couple weeks ago. Hunt leaves this week. So the good news is I have my buys basically complete, and I have enough to fill in. But if I have any injuries, I no longer have that.
Little thin. It's a little thin.
All right. Moving down, as we look at our remaining schedule, you see everybody and who they're playing. I did a little, just nothing super official, but
And just to clarify, Rachel and I going up against each other this week is such a big playoff. It's certainly the game of the week here, guys.
Listen, Scarano, it is a family affair. We got Colin versus Brian. You got you versus Rachel. And we got me versus Parker and Joel. I mean, it is a family
affair.
Fight. It is wild. So I did a little playoff hopes look here, and I kind of did some calculations, and I could have a mistake here, but I feel pretty good about what I got. And sorry to Michael and Casey, but I left you off the list. I did throw a little dotted line in there to indicate the two teams that are currently not in. But I did a path for everybody. And unlike the other one, I'm going to start at the top on this one. For me, what I'm looking for is a bye. You know, that's really the ultimate goal here. And I have the best path at that because of my points. All I need to do is win once in these last 2 weeks, and it locks me into a bye. And my playoffs are already a lock. So feeling good. If I can get a win here, I can punt the final week. Joel and Parker, they're in good shape too. They need a win, or they just need to stay ahead of Colin because nobody else is going to catch them in points, and nobody else is going to catch them in wins. They're in, but they do want to get that bye. And with us going against each other this week, one of us loses. So Colin all of a sudden has a chance, and that's where he's really banking on. He needs to gain a game on Joel and Parker, and he's got to pass them in points. If he does, he gets the bye spot. Or he's got to gain 2 games on me because I will beat him in points no matter what.
Okay.
Playoffs, though, essentially a lock. Scarano, this is you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a shot at the bye still. It's a long shot, though. You got to gain 2 games on me or Joel and Parker, and you got to pass Colin as well to get the bye. However, after your performance last week, playoffs looking very good for you.
Okay.
Rachel, I don't know if your turkey's being prepped or whatever it is here, but here's the deal. You need to get 2 wins and pass Scarano in points to try and get in via wins. So clearly, I don't think that's likely.
She's not that far off from passing me, though.
She's not far off in points, but 2 wins and you got to get 2 losses. It doesn't seem likely.
Okay.
Scarano, her best bet is not to go after you that way, but to instead go after points, in which she's been trending. Jake, not going to have him with wins. Got to hold on to the points lead over Tamal and Brian to get in. That's his only shot. Tamal, here you go, buddy. Here's your hope for the day. Ready? You need to either gain 2 wins on Scarano and pass Rachel to get in via wins, or you could just get 37 points over Jake
2 weeks.
In the next 2 weeks.
2
the good
weeks.
news is your points are trending down.
but Matt, that's not Matt. Look, Matt.
It's not impossible.
It's a big game away. It's a big game away.
Big game away. Bad games from them.
And listen, man.
You're just saying that it's a bad game. It's just being pessimistic. Glass half full here, man.
You have a better shot than Brian. You have the best shot of anybody not in the playoffs. Brian not getting in via wins. You at least have a long shot at that. Brian was trending up in points until last week. Now he's going to need 2 massive weeks to pass 3 teams.
How far is he away from actually getting in via points? I know you had the screen up earlier. I just forgot. It was like 60 something, right?
68.
Okay.
Brian, I think maybe you just wake up early, change Rachel's settings, and
wins don't matter. Remember, all he needs is points. He can do whatever settings it is. It's not going to make a difference.
But he needs her points to go down too.
Fair enough. Okay,
yeah.
But he better get some spots there. On the left, the outlook based on what's currently happening, and then on the right, my predictions. Scarano, the only move that got made is that last week I had you and Jake switched in the final spot fight / good shot. The outlook now has you in the good shot and Jake in the final spot fight. Here's my final predictions. I do believe Colin steals that bye from Joel and Parker. Scarano, I do believe you are in via wins. Sorry, Tamala, I do have you on the outside looking in, but if it makes you feel any better, I do have you in 7th place.
No, that doesn't help at all.
Okay, just checking. Just wanted to try to see if that was it. So.
And I play Rachel this week, so if she gets me, I'm still ahead in points, so then I move up. That wouldn't really have a huge effect on Tamal and Brian.
No, you could drop into the point battle for sure,
yes.
Scarano, but you still have a pretty good shot at wins because of your. And then you look ahead to your schedule, Scarano. You've got
Rachel this week. Huge.
Joel and Parker in the last week, so that's a tough one.
Yeah. Look, man, it wasn't great. Listen, you were looking at the schedule last week and you were saying that it was easy because there wasn't Casey on there. But believe it or not, he actually, I don't know, did all right.
Yeah, he did fine.
I don't like to give him credit.
Your best bet here is just get that win. If you get a win, you're in the playoffs. You get a win, you're in the playoffs.
Is to be lauded.
Win and you're in.
Thanks, man.
Kamala, shall we look ahead real quick?
Just one quick thing with the buys or with the waivers. We finally have a team under $100.
Hey.
And that is Colin, who is at $97.
All right.
All right. First matchup. We have Colin taking on his brother, Brian.
Bros.
Family affair. Family affair continues here.
I love it.
Colin goes back to Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, who's Daniels got again this week?
They're going against Tennessee.
And Knicks is against Cleveland.
Hasn't been
But it's
bad.
on a Monday night. I don't blame him.
You know, he has Smith in there. Smith has not been practicing against Baltimore. That's a late game.
Yep.
Yep.
Slide Waddle in? Or
I mean, Waddle's been playing great.
Waddle's been playing great, but it's cold game. We know what happens to the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, playing great means he played good for 1 week. I think he was pretty bad before that, but
let's see.
We'll look this up.
Yeah, let's look this up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess
Pretty
so.
bad.
he did have a great week though.
Yeah.
So,
Brian, full health. I think,
except for Brees Hall.
yeah, I was gonna say Brees Hall's in, and I'm not sure he's gonna play. That would be huge for Brian.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, I would put Jacobs in there. I would leave your flex open, especially with all these early games.
I'm sure he will.
Yes,
He knows the move.
definitely
But
switch.
I don't like anybody on his bench. Like, it's gonna be a tight end that goes in. Yeesh.
Yeah, I don't see anything good.
All right,
Yeah, that's bad for him.
where are we heading?
All right, the interesting matchup of the week. We have Casey taking on the Michael Thomas.
What's interesting about this?
I mean, the two clearly
The
worse
basement.
teams.
That they're at the
I mean,
basement
it's-
and
yeah,
they're
it's the
trying to
basement.
scrap
I
it
mean,
out, maybe?
Who is
It's the toilet bowl.
right now? Michael Thomas is projected to win by 27 points, but Casey does have Dobbins in there.
I mean, yuck.
And we talked about
Just non-participation in general.
yeah. I mean,
I think we can move right along.
all right,
Let's not waste our time.
Cuzzy Bowl.
Oh, this is a fantastic one.
2024. Rachel taking on Scarano. Right now, Rachel's projected to win by 3
Yeah, she's projected
points.
to win by a little bit. It's tight though. I mean, this is an epic matchup, one for the ages. Just both teams fighting for a playoff spot here, man. I mean, I'd imagine this thing will go down to the absolute wire. I would be shocked if anyone won this game by more than 10 points. Absolutely floored.
Scarano, walk me through your quarterback process. Where are you at?
I'm going Mayfield at at Carolina. I was giving some thought to Love. I don't know. I don't like Thanksgiving night. Could be cold. Could be a bunch of things. Mayfield is the third-ranked quarterback. People don't realize it's absolutely shocking to think that like some guy who you could just pick up was kind of almost a joke when I did pick him up.
Yeah.
Is that good? And I hate to say it, I think he's a weekly starter.
2 mediocre games in a row.
Yep.
And now I ask you this: are you really going to bench Addison?
I don't know about that. That's the one that I'm really looking at.
Or what about Neighbors?
Come on. So hard just to be like he was the number one receiver for so many weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's fallen back to earth, and he's been back to earth for a little bit now.
I think that would be a tough one. I think Debo maybe first.
Tamala,
Okay.
you're completely discounting the fact that Mike named his team after him too.
Yes, that's a huge part.
He
I
can't.
think my team name, and I want to clarify with my team name. There was no AI used there. I came up with that all by myself. Just so you know, guys. Boom.
That's the least impressive gloat I've ever heard.
What? What? You guys used AI and looked it up on the internet. Are you kidding me?
Use AI for what?
I promise you. No, maybe Jay didn't. I don't know.
Okay.
No.
So
listen, I have decisions to make.
She's got Brian Robinson in there. They signed somebody off the street who a running back.
McNichols or whatever, and then Rodriguez.
So I don't know if he's going to play, but so I know Swift had a bad game last week. Not a bad game, but down game.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
He was so good, and I kind of feel like those Thanksgiving games are running back heavy games.
Okay.
I mean, I just think it's so hard because if she loses Swift, it sounds like Lockett's already in trouble too. Keon Coleman's coming back. Like, I just don't think she loves anybody else, but she does have a lot of other options that are at least feasible. Mooney, Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's feasible.
Coleman even. Like,
yeah, but I mean, if she does Swift, she needs to make that move tomorrow.
Right, but I'm saying that's why I think she might be sitting Swift against a great Detroit team because then she's got other options that are kind of equivalent to Brian Robinson.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would bet money that Swift has more points than Brian Robinson. But
this is where
season's gone.
This is where some of the finest school lunches Boone Trail has ever served have started off just like this. And you're going to say,
sirens going off.
Rachel.
Sounds like we got a bet.
We got a bet going.
Yep.
That same dollar being passed back and forth about
All right.
38 times.
Now, JT, you have something that hasn't happened to you in weeks.
Yeah.
You are projected to lose.
Oh, man.
You are projected to lose by 0.2 of a point, 137.7 to 137.9.
Yeah. And wait, how about this? Wait, this is even wilder. They haven't set their lineup. Josh Allen is going in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe Shakir over somebody as well. So this could grow. This could grow.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at them, Jay. This is
But they will have to make a move to get Thielen on their roster.
Mm-hmm. That's easy. They drop McMillan.
Yeah, that's what that would be, even though he spent some money for him now.
Yeah, and this is where, like, I'm a little nervous because I do lose Hunt for the first time, and that means I get Hawkinson in. And now Hawkinson was great last week.
Yep.
But
he's been up and down.
But that's what I was going to say, Jay. Like, I have been in another league, and I remember, like, during the first half or something, it was real low.
Yeah,
like,
he got a lot.
Shockingly low. And then
he got a lot on the last drive and overtime.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying is that I do remember it being like, what is going on with him? Because I had him in my tight end position, and he lurked around in my IR spot. And there's only one in this league that just, I don't.
Any thought about playing Chubb after the 2 touchdowns last week?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. I don't like at Denver. And if you look at his game, he was 20 rushes for 59 yards. It was really bad. It was just happened to be that he got 2 1-yard plunges or whatever it was. I'm not saying that can't happen. He might get in there, but I feel better about a non-touchdown dependent. Like, the only time he's gotten double digits is if he gets a touchdown, and I don't think they have a good enough team running-wise for him to do it. His yards per carry have been very bad.
Mm-hmm.
He came back.
Jay, and I'm just going to say, just looking at their team, and this is a pretty good look this week because there's no bye week. So you get to really see everyone's best versus everyone's best here. And I'm not meaning to throw any shade on you whatsoever, Jay, but like, dude, that's a strong team. I think she might get you here. Not willing to bet.
Yeah, listen, she's got it. Yeah. She and Parker have a great team. That's why they're tied.
Like when you look at like the top of the lineup and the top of your lineup, man, she definitely can take you.
Here's what she's got. She's got Burrow and Chase going against Pittsburgh. And I think that's a huge advantage because those two can explode, as we've seen, in ways that allow for the rest of my team to not have to perform. So whatever. It is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. If I lose, I'm still fine.
Tough matchup, but it'll be great with all the games. A game on Friday, 3 games. It's 4 games.
Yeah, it's really fun to be able to watch all those things, and like Parker's super into it now. He's super into it, and now we get to watch against each other. And there's stakes, but there's not really stakes. We're both going to make the playoffs, so it's a good place to be fun.
All right, I like it.
And then I am taking on Jake. He's projected to beat me 137 to 135.
And Matt, if this wasn't, this is more of a points battle in general. So I mean, like this, if I was to play my cousin, this would be the game of the week, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, for playoff fight, this is huge.
For a playoff fight, this is absolutely huge. Just because of the points that need to be gained here. Because let's really look at this, Matt. You've really got to catch him by what? 15 points here?
At least.
That's what we're looking at. You're a 15-point dog, yeah.
Can he sit DJ Moore? It's going to be tough. Can he really sit Ridley? Who's been really good. Oh, gosh, that's tough. He's got too many receivers.
Yep.
You know, the best thing that might happen for him is if Metcalf has to sit because it forces him to be able to let one of those other guys in.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He has a lot of – look, he always drafts it well. But this is a huge game, Matt. This is a huge game, and you really got to catch him by like 15 points, man.
Tamala, this is it, buddy.
Yeah.
Now's your time.
Yep. We will see if we have the fancy trail next week or not, or if it's like –
Oh, really? I didn't
canceled.
realize it was this catastrophic.
Nah, don't worry, Scrano. I know how to run it.
Didn't realize it was this catastrophic.
Yeah, I don't really know how to run it. I know how to hit a button. All right, boys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone here, man.
All right. You got anything, Serrano?
Nothing much. Just saying that, if I was thinking about being thankful, I've been in probably over 10 fantasy football leagues, and nothing comes close to this one. It's awesome. We've found ways to keep people in, especially with the point situation. Not in one other league, and I'm in 3 leagues this year, do we have people just actively talking about, am I in the playoffs? Am I out of the playoffs? Like, I'm in a couple that just seem silent, man.
Yeah,
and like this
I completely agree.
That's it.
I completely agree. It's the best. It's the best chat, and even though it's not incredibly active, there is a lot of interaction that exists. I know people text each other on the side. It's fun to have it be what it is, even after all these years. So
it's by far the best one, and I'm thankful for it. Absolutely.
All right, guys. You have a good Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week.
Thanksgiving.
Fast. Michael Thomas down Camp Blast. Casey's dreams on the ground. Heartbreak City scores compound. Tamala slipping points decline. Figures fading across the line. Jake and Rachel gaining ground. Silent leaps, no sound. Squeak by Colin, win this fight. Battles in the fading light. Chaos feels like home somehow. Fantasy, it's just right now. Every player rides the grind. Scores blazing wild mind. Victory is just a name. Keep chasing all the same. Mike's still strong, relentless force. Tamala's dreams off course. Rachel's eyes on the prize. In this chaos, truth lies. Hopes and dreams collide tonight. Fancy plays in the dim light. Week 12 scoreboard doesn't lie. Fantasy football, live or die.
Back, guys.
See you later, guys. Fantastic.